This is the first time a woman has come to the gym to find her husband, but the staff said her husband had already cancelled his membership 3 months ago. When the woman got home, she found that her husband had left his phone at home. Her sixth sense made her unable to resist opening the phone to check it, but there was nothing on it. Ella put the phone down and felt that she had overreacted. At that moment, the phone suddenly received a text message saying, "Where are you?" Seeing the message that had been withdrawn, Ella had a bad feeling in her heart, so she called a colleague and asked him to help locate her husband's smartwatch. She went to the location where the watch was located and found it near the gym. Ella got back in the car and started waiting. At that time, she received a call from her best friend. On the phone, her best friend thanked Ella for holding the unveiling ceremony for her work. Hearing her best friend's warm words, Ella's eyes instantly filled with tears. Her best friend heard Ella's choking and anxiously asked her what was wrong. However, at that moment, Ella saw the figure of her husband, so she quickly hung up on her best friend. She saw her husband standing not far away, pacing back and forth, looking at her watch every now and then, as if waiting for someone. A few minutes later, a woman came from behind and blindfolded her husband. What Ella never expected was that this woman was her best friend Amy. Watching the two of them leave hand in hand, Ella felt the sky fall apart in an instant. Her mother passed away early, and she grew up with her stepfather. But Ella was smart, hardworking and studious since she was young, so she grew up to become the chairman of a furniture company. After getting married, Ella gave birth to her daughter Ruth. Because she was usually busy with work, her husband Su Shunyong took on the role of housewife. She thought she had the happiest life. However, for the past 7 years, she had been receiving anonymous text messages and letters. Ella had always ignored them, until one night, while she was working overtime at the company alone, a man in black walked into the office and pushed over the shelf where she kept her trophies. Ella heard a noise and came out to check. At that moment, she suddenly received a text message. The text message contained a photo of the flower basket she had thrown away. It said, "A person who betrays their friends is unforgivable." Ella felt something was wrong and immediately called the police. But as soon as the call was connected, the man in black chased her out of the next room. Ella saw this and had to run for her life. In the panic, her phone fell to the ground. Ella ran back to her office and locked the door. She wanted to call for help, but found that the phone and internet were not working well. Outside the door, the man in black was using a drill to pick the lock. Since the lock was of really good quality, the man in black simply smashed the glass. Ella hid under the table in fear. Seeing the man in black holding a hammer getting closer and closer to her, Ella was already trembling with fear. Luckily, the security guard arrived at this time. The black-clad man had to flee immediately upon seeing this. Later, the police arrived at the scene to investigate, but today's company surveillance was undergoing regular maintenance, so for the time being, there was no way to know the suspect's appearance, and the company had been notified of the surveillance maintenance via email, which meant that everyone in the company was a suspect. The next day, Ella stood in the office and looked at all the employees, trying to analyze who was most likely to have attacked her last night. At this time, she suddenly remembered that there was a camera on the furniture module on her desk yesterday. Ella did not find that module